One of the other election results coming yesterday was the unseating of Richard Lugar, longtime senator, actually the longest serving Republican senator, served 6 terms in the U.S. Senate from Indiana. He was unseated in a primary by a man named Richard Mourdock, by a crazy man named Richard Mourdock, if I didn't say that properly, yesterday, but overwhelmingly. I mean, he got it was 61-39 there as well, maybe 61-40. So Lugar is put out to pasture to make way for a very conservative and very divisive man in Richard Mourdock, a Tea Party candidate. Here is Richard Lugar giving his concession speech last evening.
I congratulate Richard Mourdock on his victory in a hard-fought race. I want to see a Republican in the White House. I want to see my friend Mitch McConnell have a Republican majority in the Senate. I hope that Richard Mourdock prevails in November so he can contribute to that Republican majority in the Senate. Hoosiers deserve the best representation possible. They deserve legislators who will listen to their entire spectrum of citizen views and work to achieve consensus. They deserve legislators who each day go to work thinking about how they can solve problems. We are experiencing deep political divisions in our society right now, and these divisions have stalemated progress in critical areas. But these divisions are not insurmountable, and I believe that people of goodwill, regardless of party, can work together for the benefit of our country.
There's Richard Lugar. I'm guessing that was like the 3rd time he's been to Indiana in the last 15 years. He is a very entrenched political figure. He is, by all accounts, a decent man. But anyone who says that my friend Mitch McConnell, I have questions about to begin with.
Yeah.
It was a tepid endorsement of Murdoch. I wouldn't be surprised to see Lugar sit it out and not actually endorse Murdoch. But what does it say, Tricia, that this is still happening? The Tea Party is still alive, that they're still looking at guys like Orrin Hatch and Richard Lugar as being too far to the left?
Yeah, well, it is the most polarized political territory in my adult lifetime. I never thought that the differences in worldview and approach would become so entrenched that you'd have this significant political subculture that's not only intractable but uninterested in listening. The idea of civil debate and discussion and reconsideration. I mean, an open mind is extremely important. I mean, obviously from my vague profession, yeah.
Yes.
But it's important to be persuadable. Not that you're being indoctrinated, but that you're persuadable based on evidence, based on new thinking, but this rigidity is profoundly dangerous. It is the kind of polarization that makes democracy almost impossible. So it's very dangerous.
Yeah, and so is Richard Mourdock dangerous. And when
well,
you
yeah,
hear,
that's who I was.
yeah, but listen to Richard Mourdock here. This is a response to what Lugar said yesterday.
Well, I have a mindset that says bipartisanship ought to consist of Democrats coming to the Republican point of view. I've said many times through this campaign that one of the things I hope to do is to help build a conservative Republican majority in the United States Senate and continue to help the House build a Republican majority and have a Republican White House. And then bipartisanship becomes having Democrats come our way. So that's what we're working towards. And I think in the days ahead, Mr. Lugar will join our effort.
It seems odd when these guys are decrying partisanship all the time, and he thinks that he thinks partisanship is a disaster. He thinks that there's no effectiveness unless you can just steamroll.
Yeah.
That's what he says. Let's listen to him talk about that just quickly here. This is Richard Mourdock.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of successful compromise. Hence, you have the deadlock we have today.
So what I hear you say is that you're not going to compromise. In fact, the only compromise you'll do is really getting other people on the other side of the aisle to come to your side of the aisle, which I guess is the definition against compromise. You said this in the New York Times.
Well, it is the definition of political effectiveness.
True. So political effectiveness, you're saying, is not possible with compromise. Some people would say political effectiveness in the Senate actually requires compromise.
Yeah, bravo, Soledad O'Brien right there. But he's going to run against Joe Donnelly, a Democrat. There are rumors that Lugar will not endorse him. There are some people that are trying to get Lugar to endorse Obama, trying to get Lugar to endorse Donnelly, to say that this guy is just too far to the right in the Senate. Lugar will not run as an independent. He says he's a Republican, tried and true. So.
Well, he's a Republican from another era, apparently.